I am very excited for today. But yes, we are officially live, I believe. Yep, here we go. All right. So, first let's just go ahead and cover the futures. If we go, hang on. If we go here, there we go. Futures this morning, NASDAQ is actually up futures-wise. The Dow is actually down, so we might see kind of the reverse of what we're used to seeing over the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long, where we're cycling back into these tech stocks. And as soon as the big cap tech stocks start taking off, the small cap ones are going to follow. So futures-wise, we're looking good right now, but we all know futures can change pretty quickly. Another thing I'm going to keep my eye on this morning is if CleanSpark has a press release. I think it's very possible we could. And let me make sure. Oh yeah, we're good to go. Sweet. All right. And the reason I say this is because of what Matthew Schultz put on his Twitter yesterday evening. If you guys didn't see this, these are miners, and this logo right here says Bitmain. So these are definitely S19 AMP miners. I don't know much about the miners, but we do know that these are miners, and the fact that Matthew was able to post this on his Twitter probably means that we might be out of the quiet period finally. So I'm going to keep my eye on the CleanSpark news portal. But I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the sticks now, and then I'll get to the chat. I see a lot of people are in here already. I think we're all eager for the markets to go back up. I'm with you all. Ryan said he's thinking about selling SFT, but he's down 16%, so probably not smart. It really depends, Ryan. You can use that to offset your capital gains at the end of the year. I see Lewis has some rocket emojis. I like that. My Dogecoin double. Yeah, I like it. I think we're all ready for the markets to head back up, especially the small caps that we follow on my channel. And patience pays. I did a members only live stream yesterday, and I think it went really well. Just kind of discussing how impatient people have gotten. You know, all we have to do, and I'll do this right now, all we have to do is go to, I'll switch back to the Chrome view on the stream, but all we have to do is go to the CleanSpark StockTwits stream to see that people are highly, highly impatient right now. And this is just because CleanSpark's been down over the past few weeks, which is no time at all in the market, really. The turds of the year, LOL, POS, etc. I mean, you can scroll down and see all this stuff. The bad news, the stock sucks, all that stuff. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in Warren Buffett's quote that says the market is a very efficient mechanism of transferring money from the impatient to the patient. I think that's exactly what you're going to see here with CleanSpark. I've seen it in the past with CleanSpark in their previous offering where this happened. People got impatient, they sold out, they started bashing the company, they started bashing Matthew Schultz, they started bashing me, and then all of a sudden the stock price goes from $12 to $40 per share. So I think it's going to be the same exact thing. So I can't wait for that. But let's go ahead and switch back to the candlesticks here, and we can follow what let's see. There we go. We can follow what Bitcoin's doing this morning. When I woke up, it was right at 63,000. It looks like we've fallen barely this morning, but very, very strong movement out of Bitcoin, according to the Calvin Waite, who is the developer of the ETXs at Humble or TSNP formerly. He said when Bitcoin is at 58,000, he doesn't see it really stopping until 67, 68,000. We kind of had an inverted head and shoulders or something. I don't really know the technical terms, but I'm really excited. I think Bitcoin's going to go a long ways. And even if CleanSpark stock doesn't go up, there's one thing that's certain. They're making more and more money as Bitcoin prices go up. And eventually the markets are going to have to realize that. They're going to have to recognize that. The revenue is going to come in, and then the markets are going to say, oh crap, this company's for real. What am I doing? I better get into this. So I'm kind of waiting for that day. Anyways, let's go watch lists here, and then let's bring up Workhorse. This one's one obviously that helped grow my channel quite a bit. Really, really painful, more so than most stocks, I will say. But if this, I said this, if this goes to $10 a share or lower, that's when I will probably re-enter my position. So I just want to say that outright here before we get started. But let's go back to my watch list again. Let's go to the all stocks here. SFT, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I'm thinking about selling that just to add to my cash pile for one, but also add to SGBX, which is at $3.99 pre-market, so that's in the threes again, which is crazy because when I first bought it, it was like $3.50, and then it went up to $7 or $8 a share. Now we're back down to $4 a share, and I think a lot of people got scared because they've delayed their earnings a couple times. And honestly, I don't think there's going to be any bad news that gets released from their earnings, and I think once investors see that, they'll start piling back into the stock, at least ones that sold because they got scared. So I think the earnings report for SGBX could be a big catalyst for us, but we'll have to stay tuned for it, definitely. Created CRTD, I will have a CEO interview that I did yesterday published on my YouTube channel, either late this evening or early tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about what the CEO discussed in that interview, but that's going to be really, really informational for all of you, for everybody that wants to watch it. And then what else should I cover here? Curiosity Stream. I sold out of this one in my Robinhood portfolio to add to CleanSpark and SGBX and CRTD in my highest conviction plays, but I really want to get back into Curiosity Stream as well. I think that's a great stock to be in. GameStop has been definitely downtrending, but as we see pre-market, we're seeing some green. And if GameStop does well, it sounds silly, but if GameStop does well, the rest of the meme stocks, the hot stocks are going to start to recover at the heels of GameStop, in my personal opinion. We have Lordstown Motors. There's another one I want to get back into in my Robinhood portfolio. I'm low on cash right now, so I'm going to try and stockpile more cash before I start buying back into some of these names. But Lordstown Motors has been beaten up more than about any stock I know for. There was a reason for it, but I think that reason has definitely been soaked into the share price at this point. So I'm going to look to get back into Lordstown Motors, definitely. But looks like CleanSpark pre-market is up 2.5% now. So really excited about CleanSpark today. We'll have to see how it performs. A lot of people, again, are very impatient when you compare it to Riot Blockchain, which is up 8-9% pre-market, or Marathon Patent Group, which is up 7% pre-market, right? This is where the impatience comes in, and again, eventually the market's going to have to realize that CleanSpark is here to stay. Anyways, let's get to the chat a little bit here. Ike says, really wonder why CleanSpark is still not rocketing. Have they announced what they are going to do with the money from the offering? Yeah, they've released several news articles. Well, not several news articles, but several 8Ks where they've discussed they've purchased different Bitcoin mining facilities and that sort of thing. So we know they're going to spend some money on the Bitcoin side, but we also know that they're going to spend some money on the clean energy side, the green energy side for microgrids. So, and the thing is, it doesn't really matter where they spend that money because both business segments are accretive to each other. If one is doing well, the other's going to do well. So, I'm feeling pretty good about CleanSpark right now. I think it's a really good buy. And like you said, Ike seems like a great opportunity. TS says Bitcoin to 1 million, CleanSpark to 500 easy. I mean, that'd be great, but let's hit 100,000 Bitcoin first, right? That'd be a big milestone for sure. Devin says NASDAQ is green. Devin, I missed you. You're my NASDAQ is green or NASDAQ is red guy, keeping me updated. I like it. Ace Spencer says growth in tech is dealing with manipulation by Wall Street and the fat cats at these hedge funds. They're trying to bleed us out all across the board, but I'm just holding. Absolutely, I 100% agree with that, Ace. I think they realize there's a lot of weak hands or retail traders that don't necessarily understand their investments, and when the stocks go down, they know they'll sell out, which they'll be able to get cheap shares for. So I think you're onto something there. I definitely agree. Think says SG Blocks. Let's go. I'm a big fan of SGBX as well. I'll be looking to add shares to that in my Robinhood account probably today if it stays in the threes, especially. Dave says, have you seen GIK the merger at 421? I honestly didn't see the merger date. But obviously that one's been a rough one, and that was a mistake I made. But I'm going to learn from that mistake going forward with GIK. I didn't really think about how SPACs were being propped up, how everybody thought SPACs were just easy money. If you throw money into a SPAC, you're going to make money. 100% done, right? It was euphoria. Whenever a particular market or segment in the market gets to that point where everybody says, this is easy money, why would anybody not do this? That's when you need to start second guessing what's really going on. And I made that mistake, but it's not like I put that much money into my GIK call options. But definitely a learning lesson for me going forward. And, that's something I've also learned in this market is over my 4 or 5 years, whatever I've been in the markets now for, is that you really don't make a mistake if you learn from it. Graham Stephan said it, and I really like the saying that it's just the cost of tuition. It's learning the market. You're going to lose money. You're going to make bad trades. It's just the way it is. I mean, Warren Buffett still makes mistakes, right? He sold his airline stocks at the bottom, and they've recovered a lot from the bottom. So perhaps the most intelligent investor of all time still makes mistakes. So everybody makes mistakes. So don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake. Just learn from those mistakes. IKG says, how do I feel about ChargePoint? I think ChargePoint's definitely a good play if the Biden infrastructure plan does indeed have lots of subsidies and I don't know what the word is, but incentives. That's what I'm looking for clean energy, EV charging companies, EV manufacturers, that sort of thing. It'll be a good play. But the problem was going into the Biden administration, all of that was already priced in, as we've seen. So a lot of those stocks have kind of fallen, and we really need to see that the infrastructure plan actually plays through, and these companies are going to benefit under this Biden administration. We'll see though. Cardo says, you are no longer bullish on GIK. No, I didn't say that at all. I am definitely bullish on GIK. I think it's tremendously undervalued. I'm probably going to buy shares of GIK. What I did say was I made a mistake by buying call options of the SPAC, thinking that it could only go up from here. As we've seen, my call options are probably going to expire worthless. That's what I did say. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not bullish on the stock. I will be buying shares of GIK. SGBX, even small market cap, is doing bad. Small caps have been the ones that have done bad, in particular, more than other stocks. They're the only ones that have yet to recover from the bottoms we saw a couple weeks ago. But as soon as the big cap tech stocks start running back up again, I think the small caps are going to follow. I think since they're more risky in nature, I think what a lot of the institutional investors and hedge funds were thinking is, I'm not going to risk that the tech stocks going up is here to stay. I'm gonna go into more of the safe tech stocks, which are the larger cap tech stocks. And then if this continues to go up, then we'll start cycling money back into the small caps and that sort of thing. Ace says, dude, XL Fleet took a beating. Yeah, it did. I'm glad I sold my call options when it hit like $30 or whatever that was. So let's see. Drew says, howdy Ben, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Alexander says, everybody thought SPACs had a hard support at $10, so they were so confident to enter at 12, for example. But look at XL and GIK. When SPACs drop under $10, you see a huge panic. That's true, but I think with SPACs, technically they have to start buying back shares anytime the share price does go below $10. So the $10 is a pretty solid floor for SPACs. Expectations following PLTR's upcoming demo day. I think PLTR is a great stock to be in for the long term, to be honest. It's one I'm going to add to my Roth IRA, definitely. Graham says SOS Limited. Graham, I've always had kind of an issue with investing in SOS because it's a Chinese company that's a little more secretive about where its miners are located, that sort of thing. And I can invest in the same type of company in the United States that isn't so secretive. So I don't really see the upside of investing in SOS. Other than quick pump and dump. which we saw happen. Anyways, do you know what valuation Lightning eMotors will have after the merger? I don't off the top of my head, but if you go to their investor presentation, I'm sure they say the enterprise value. So you can take the enterprise value and then however many dollars the price is accumulated above that net asset value, and you can find out what their valuation is going to be. Humble CC today. Yeah, I did see that Humble TSNP is going to have a conference call today. And people think it's going to be that app release. So I'm going to be watching that, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, Flippin' Flappin' says Flux. Flux is another one I really want to get back into for sure. Anyways, I'm going to get back to these sticks here before the markets open. So let's start moving around here. Let's go to my watch list. And let's see. No, I didn't want to go to the grid. What am I doing? Okay, let's bring up CleanSpark, which is up 1.5% pre-market right now. And again, people have been really impatient with that one. I think we're going to be just fine. This isn't the view I want. I forget how I need to, is that it? I don't know. Let's go here. Okay, potential plays, all stocks. I don't know, but let's see. SFT's up 0.5%. Let's see what the Nasdaq's doing pre-market here. Let's go QQQ. Pre-market, yeah, pre-market the Nasdaq's still green, which is a big deal. Let's see what the Russell 2000, which is the small cap. So this is what a lot of us want to be paying attention to. That's not what I want. RUT is generally what it is, but I don't think they have that on the Webull platform. Here we go. Let's go to the iShares Russell 2000. Red pre-market, but barely. We'll see where that goes as time goes on. Let's go Lordstown Motors. Lordstown is up pre-market marginally. So we're seeing a lot of... it looks like we're going to have a pretty flat opening, you could say, for a lot of these tech stocks. And I think it's going to depend on... the overall direction of the broader market, what happens to the small caps today. But today could be a big day of reckoning for the small caps, where we do catch up quite a bit. So I'm going to be paying attention to CleanSpark in particular, because you guys all know I love CleanSpark. I love me some CleanSpark. And I think it's tremendously undervalued where it's at currently. So we'll keep an eye on this. I'm going to zoom in. This is the one we'll pay attention to as the markets open. So here we go. Let's go to the 1 day. Okay, 1 day, 1 minute. We'll see where this opens. I want to go to the... For some reason, my whole Webull desktop platform got reset. So the views I had before that were really handy aren't working anymore. But we'll see where CleanSpark opens. I'll check quickly, but I don't think we ended up getting a press release for CleanSpark. I'll refresh the page. You guys won't be able to see this. At least not yet. I don't think. Yeah, we haven't gotten a press release from CleanSpark yet, but that doesn't mean we won't get a press release. So keep an eye on this. 20 seconds till the market's open. Looking forward to seeing what the small caps and in particular CleanSpark's going to do today. Because I know a lot of the people watching this stream right now probably are invested in CleanSpark. So 10 seconds. Looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to figure out what happened to my layout I had on Webull. But I haven't streamed in a while, so it probably just got reset when it got updated. Here's the market open. We'll see what happens with CleanSpark here. Okay, so we started up 1.6%. Where's the candlestick at? I think we're still loading it. There it is. Up 1.35% currently. Red candlestick. What I really want to pay attention to in addition to CleanSpark is the other Bitcoin mining companies, with Bitcoin being at a new all-time high. Riot looks like it's up 9%. Let's go to Marathon here. Marathon is up 6%. So Marathon actually has fallen a little bit. And then let's see what Bitcoin is doing in general here. We did hit a new all-time high on Bitcoin, which is really good to see after struggling to break that 60,000 barrier so many times in the past. So we've fallen off, it looks like, a little bit here into the market open, but now we're seeing a big green candle. We'll have to see where this goes. Obviously, hopefully, we want this to go up because that'll be good for tech stocks and all the Bitcoin mining stocks. And if Bitcoin does well, Tesla does well. If Tesla does well, the NASDAQ does well, that sort of thing. Let's go back to CleanSpark and see what's happening here. Okay, so CleanSpark's up less than 1% now. This is what I'm talking about. How much volume do we have? Do we have any volume indicators in yet? I don't think we do. We'll have to wait for this to load in. Oh, here we go. 36,000 volume, which is not much. There's that opening candle we had. Here's where we're at right now. Now we're back over 1% green. But definitely CleanSpark's not being treated the way it should in relation to Bitcoin. But I think it's because if you had a choice to invest between Riot Blockchain and Marathon and CleanSpark, and you were a Bitcoin enthusiast, why would you choose CleanSpark over a pure play Bitcoin mining company? But I think as people start to realize that CleanSpark is a safer option, where they have other business segments that aren't entirely dependent on Bitcoin's price action, I think that's when you're really going to see CleanSpark pop. And look, we're seeing a pretty good green candle here, up 1.5% now. And as I say that, we have a big red candle. But let's go ahead and see how the NASDAQ opened up here. The QQQ up about 0.5%, which is what we were seeing pre-market. So it's good to see that we haven't fallen off a cliff yet. Hopefully, obviously, we shoot higher from here. We gapped up at the open, which is good to see. Let's go to the Russell. We saw the Russell was barely red pre-market. Now we're green. So this is really good movement. 3 pretty strong green candles here on the Russell 2000 index here. So hopefully we continue to see this, because the Russell 2000 are the small caps, if you guys did not know that. So keep an eye on the Russell. Keep an eye on Bitcoin. Bitcoin was making a comeback, but it's fallen off a little bit more, but when we zoom out, it really hasn't fallen off at all. Our high, it looks like, was 63.3, and it looks like we're and with Bitcoin you never know, but it looks like we're in a solid sort of uptrend here, but at the same time it looks pretty flat. We'll have to see what happens for sure. But we want Bitcoin to do well. Let's go back to CleanSpark and see what's going on here. CleanSpark up 1.4%, so pretty quiet day so far for CleanSpark, but I think, again, as time goes on, eventually CleanSpark's going to break through this resistance. Whatever we're dealing with right now, we're going to break through it. I don't think institutions were investing in CleanSpark at $22 per share because they thought the stock price is going to plummet. They know a lot more than we do. That's something I've learned. Institutional investors get inside information. It's just the way it is. So they know a lot more. So the fact that they were willing to invest in CleanSpark at $22 a share, movement like this doesn't concern me, because we're down $1 from the offering price. And it looks like CleanSpark wants to make a move. We'll keep an eye on it, but I'll get back to the chat here. I'll leave the CleanSpark candlesticks up though in the background. Doge is so close to breaking 8 cents. Rex, give me a shout out. I'm your #1 Discorder and your first sub on YouTube. Chad. Shout out to Chad. Slob Shop says, hey Rex, do you ever sell puts? I sold puts on CleanSpark and made some good premium, but if it's not above 22.50 on the 16th, I have to buy 400 shares, but I'm fine with that. I already own 1,100. Yeah, I think Slob Shop, honestly, selling puts is not a bad strategy right now, because worst case scenario, like you're saying, you have to buy 400 shares, and if you want to be invested in the company anyway, what really is the downside? As long as the premium you have to pay, or the price you have to pay for those shares, isn't out of whack. We're seeing a red candle here, a big red candle for CleanSpark. We'll see what happens though. But yeah, Ryan is saying CleanSpark has big news coming. I 100% agree with that. CleanSpark definitely has big news coming. How often is it that CleanSpark doesn't release news for 3 weeks or whatever it's been, right? The only times that has happened is when CleanSpark announces an acquisition. Like the ATL Data Centers acquisition, we went a couple weeks without news, if I remember correctly. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm bullish, though, as ever, on everything. But obviously, CleanSpark's still continuing to dip. I don't know if this is shorts or this is weak hand selling. I don't know if this is the lack of buyers. It's really tough to tell. Let's go back here. I want to see what the volume is on these. The volume here was 18, 1900, 8,000, 4,000, 3,000, 5,000, 48,000. So pretty low volume on these candlesticks, really. And I think this is where a lack of news is kind of costing us, because investors have gotten used to CleanSpark releasing news quite often. And I think as people have seen, CleanSpark hasn't been releasing news as often. We've been hurt. And that's where the lack of volume is coming in. Where investors used to stockpile cash to throw into the stock whenever news came out. We just haven't had news to come out. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, though, in the future. I don't think it's do or die for CleanSpark. Again, impatience kills investors. I probably shouldn't say that K word on YouTube, but it really does. If investors get impatient, they end up just getting drilled in the stock market. Whoa, look at this big green candle coming here. We'll see what happens. But definitely good to see CleanSpark is up. Let's check the other stocks and see what CRTD is doing. Created again. I did an interview with the CEO today or yesterday. The interview will be out later today or early tomorrow at the latest. But that's down 3% right now. SGBX. Let's see what SGBX is doing. SGBX is up 3%, which is good to see. It hit the threes again. If this hits the threes again, I'll probably be a buyer this time around. SFT is down 1%. Let's go back to the Russell, see what the small caps are doing. Small caps are... We went up and now we're coming back down, but as long as this turns into an uptrend where we set the higher low and the higher high, which we have the higher high, we just need the higher low and this to reverse back up, that'll be a good thing. Let's go to Bitcoin. We saw Bitcoin start to fade from the all-time high. It looks like maybe we found some support here right around that line I drew. We'll see what happens if we do end up shooting it back up to that all-time high or not. Let's go back to Marathon. Marathon is up. Marathon's only up 6% now. So, I mean, all things considered, CleanSpark isn't performing that poorly in comparison to what they've normally performed in relation to the other Bitcoin miners. Riot's doing really well, obviously. Riot Blockchain is, I think, the clear-cut number one pure play stock to be in for Bitcoin if you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, up 9%. And again, I think a lot of people agree with me. There's a reason Riot Blockchain is up 9%, Marathon's up 6%, and CleanSpark's up 2%, because if you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, you're not going to invest in CleanSpark for sure, because you're not going to get 100% exposure to Bitcoin through CleanSpark. You're going to invest in Marathon out of those two. Obviously, I think Riot Blockchain's the better choice, and I think a lot of people believe that. But when we look at the volume here, 1.7 million, 300,000, 200,000, 140,000, 180,000, you get the point here. The volume at Riot Blockchain is just so much more than we're seeing at CleanSpark right now. CleanSpark, 48,000, 5,000, 3,000, 3,000, 8,000. So for one reason or another, CleanSpark is seeing low volume, less volume than most of the other stocks here. And it's unfortunate, but eventually those buyers are going to come back in. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm not worried about my position whatsoever. Because I know we have acquisition news coming. I know that the stock is going to do well. I know they're making more and more money every single day that goes by because Bitcoin's going up. I know that their green, clean energy side of the business hasn't stopped growing. I know Solar Watt Solutions hasn't stopped growing since they acquired the company, that sort of thing. But you really would like to see more volume here. And I get it. CleanSpark's not the pure play Bitcoin miner. It's not the sexy investment, but eventually we'll come back into it, and we'll be back at all-time highs for CleanSpark. I have no doubt about it. Let's go back to SGBX here. SGBX is up 1% now, so this has fallen a little bit. Let's see what CRTD is up or down. Still down 3% on CRTD. Let's go to CuriosityStream, another one that I own in my Roth IRA and my other portfolios. That one's up marginally today. What else should we look at here? I want to look at, not that any of you guys care, I want to look at SiriusXM Holdings, what they're doing. This is the one I use as a bank account, SiriusXM. So this is in my Roth IRA for those of you that are curious, but it looks like that's down marginally. Let's go back to, oh, here we go. CleanSpark's up over 2% now. As soon as I say that, it's 1.5%. But let's go back to Marathon. Marathon's only at 5% now, 4.5%. So Marathon really isn't performing that much better than CleanSpark is when CleanSpark's up 2%, right? Let's see what Riot's doing. Riot has been a news machine lately, still up 8%-ish. Bitcoin probably means Bitcoin has fallen. No, Bitcoin's still recovering. So hopefully this gives CleanSpark some juice. Hopefully it gives the Nasdaq some juice. All those things. But I know I'm watching CleanSpark pretty closely, but I really am anxious for CleanSpark to take off. So I'm gonna keep an eye on CleanSpark, no doubt about it. So yeah, we're up over 2% now. Hopefully we make a run back to 22 today. A nice solid green day after yesterday would be really, really nice to see. But who knows what'll happen? The markets could fall off a cliff, which, by the way, we should look what the Nasdaq's doing. Pre-market, it was up about 0.5%. Oh yeah, so we're doing pretty well in the Nasdaq here. We had very solid movement here. Now to up about 1%. Now we're up 0.85%. But so I mean, all things considered, I think everything's doing okay today. The markets are still waiting for direction. I shouldn't say the markets, but the small caps are definitely waiting for direction. As you see, and this is what we didn't want to see. We didn't want to see the higher high, and then a lower low. We wanted to see a higher low somewhere in here, and then we move back up higher. That's not what we saw whatsoever. We saw a higher high, and now we're seeing a lower low. Unfortunate for the small caps, but eventually, different sectors of the stock market, they can't stay beaten down forever. There's always rotations going on. Money will flow back into the small caps eventually. It's the way the markets work. And if the markets didn't work like this, hell would freeze over. But so small caps are red again today. CleanSpark's doing okay, still up 2%. Marathon, I'm keeping a really close eye on the Bitcoin miners because it's really interesting today after Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, and I don't think Bitcoin's going to stop until it's around 70,000 probably is my guess, but who really knows what'll happen. So let's go back to the Riot's only up 7%, 6.5% now though, and that's in relation to about 9% earlier. Keith says, do you think SGBX returns to $8 range by end of year? I really don't know what's going to happen with SGBX. I don't have a crystal ball. Obviously, I hope that happens, but I've already discussed that I think the earnings report is going to be a good catalyst for SGBX, definitely. But we'll have to see what happens. Why are the MJ stocks doing so poorly? I think a lot of the reason you're seeing a lot of those sorts of stocks, the MJ cannabis stocks, the clean energy, EV stocks, all of this stuff performing so poorly since Biden has taken office is because a lot of that growth was priced in and people didn't account for that. So a lot of the growth in those industries that people thought we were going to see from the Biden administration was already priced in. Then all of a sudden, since Biden's taken a little longer than expected to give subsidies and incentives to these sorts of companies, the stocks are hurting. TS says Tesla is flying. I'll have to take a look at Tesla here on the sticks. We'll bring that up. I don't personally own Tesla. I never have. My twin brother does though. Up 2.7% here, so pretty good move for Tesla. Over 700 pretty easily now, so that's also good to see. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing again. Bitcoin's still bouncing off right around the line I drew. We'll see though. Oh yeah, here we go. More green candles coming in, and this will ultimately help Riot, Marathon. I should look at and see what SOS is doing. I have a feeling it's right around what CleanSpark's doing. Maybe they're worse. We'll see. Oh, SOS is actually negative on the day, 2.5%. CleanSpark is hopefully up 2% still. Yeah, around 2%. But, I mean, gosh, just look at this volume. It's brutal. I mean, where are the buyers here? I mean, there's clearly not that much selling pressure when we're seeing this sort of volume. 1,000 volume 4,000 volume, 500 volume, 3,000 volume, 1,000 volume, 1,000 volume, 4,000 volume, 500 volume, etc. I just don't understand where, I mean, and maybe this is just a result of the lack of news too. Who knows? But it's not like there's an abundance of sellers, in my opinion, because the volume isn't that high. And I think I've said this time and time again, but I do think buyers are going to step back in. Eventually, we're going to outweigh the sellers again. It will happen. It's just it's tough to wait. It's hard to wait in the stock market, especially after we've gotten used to being able to double our investments in weeks, right? So when that slows down, it's tough for a lot of people. Now, what I teach is, or preach, I shouldn't say teach, but preach, is to stay emotionally disattached from the highs, so that when your stocks are at lows, you're also emotionally disattached, so that you don't make dumb decisions and start saying this stock sucks and sell out of your stock. And then as soon as you sell out of stock, generally what happens is the stock rockets up and you're like, why did I sell? Learning lessons. A lot of people are going to learn that lesson. I think every investor has to learn that lesson, unfortunately. But again, it's the cost of tuition. It's the cost of learning in the markets. I'm young. I've had to learn with loss of funds as well. But pretty boring day, really. Let's see what GameStop's doing. Not GameWorks. GameStop is doing here. GameStop down 5%. So GameStop being down probably isn't a good sign for the retail stocks that are popular. Let's see what like a Nikola is doing. Up marginally. I still don't know how Nikola still has the market cap it has. I mean, this stock is so dang fraudulent. And the fact that it has a higher market cap than lots of other companies is kind of concerning. Let's go back. CleanSpark. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on everything here today. Pretty boring day though today. So I'm going to let's hope Bitcoin keeps recovering and hits that all-time high again and breaks through it. We'll see what happens though. But I'm going to stop the stream here. Pretty boring day. We'll keep an eye on everything. Obviously, we want Bitcoin to do well. We want Tesla to do well. We want all these things to do well. So I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day. Again, that interview with Created CEO will be out later today or early tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot of good information in that. CRTD is a ticker symbol on that. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your day. Peace out.